You know, one key word, by the way, I heard today in the media is probable cause. It's going to be a probable cause. But, you know, for the government, they will find a probable cause for you if they want to watch you.
Definitely.
That's very correct. And I agree about the secrecy part. And I just don't understand if they've got a vehicle, which is the the FISA court. If they've got a vehicle there to go get a warrant to get the wiretapping, then why don't they just use it? I just don't understand. And we'll probably never know until way after down history sometime. But hey, it was great talking to you guys.
Hey, TJ, keep watching. Thanks. The issue of let's talk about the media. I believe the media is biased. What's your perspective with the media?
I agree with you that it is biased. It is biased politically. It is also biased from the standpoint of money.
That's why I got on television, by the way, so I can speak freely.
Well, a perfect example of this recently that I noticed, even locally, was the news story that came out this week about Al Gore's new movie that's coming out.
Oh, yeah.
And pardon me, the title slips my mind, but it's basically about the global warming crisis. And this movie played to raise...
Tony Snow?
Well, Tony Snow is another example. Fox News commentator has just joined the Bush administration, and I think it's a merger of Fox News with the Bush administration, but there's been a de facto merger there for many years. But this story about Al Gore's movie, I picked up the Hutchinson News, and there was a story in there about the movie. I never saw it in the Wichita Eagle.
I agree with you. So how can we? You see, the reason I ask you this question, Mr. Kelly, is the defamation of religion of about 1 million people and 1,250,000,000. The defamation on a daily basis has led to brainwashing many of the American people who are innocent, who actually they see and read and see what's going on TV and read newspapers and so forth. But actually it's a cumulative of defamation makes people to believe what is going on or what's happening is truly right or correct, or that is an authentic stories, where I bet you 90% of those stories are unauthentic. How can we educate the American public that do not buy everything you read or see or you hear?
Well, I think education is the key. I think if we make sure our children go to college, make sure that they are raised in an environment where they're taught to question authority, question government, and not to be entrusting of everything that they read in the newspaper, I think is the long way to do that. But having shows like this, Dr. Seyam, is a more short-term resolution. I know how often you speak around the country and around the state of Kansas to audiences to talk about yourself and your life story and your service to the Islamic Society. That's also an important part of that puzzle.
Let's start. I want to switch. I want to go all the way to somewhere in Afghanistan. I want to talk about the mountains of Afghanistan. Where is Bin Laden at? I mean, this guy is sending fascinating, DVDs and CDs and of the Wahiri out of somewhere in Mars, maybe sending some edited beautiful copies of, somebody's really taken some real nice shots. I mean, I, as a man who is 46 years old, living in Wichita, Kansas, there's no way I believe that kind of editing was done in a cave. In no way I would believe a story like that. Where is Bin Laden, and why nobody, I mean, we talk about al-Zarqawi in Iraq more than we talk about Bin Laden.
Well, of course, I don't know where he is, but there have been many examples in recent history of guerrilla armies in urban environments. And the IRA in Ireland is a classic example. And the British never could stamp them out, despite having modern communications and modern weaponry, and despite being in an urban environment. So just because somebody is living in a city doesn't mean they're easy to find. Bin Laden could be living in a city. That would certainly make it easier to produce the videos. And
which I seriously, that's the way I think. I think he's somewhere in a city.
But he certainly.
I mean, if watching Rambo 1, 2, 3, and 5 and 10, this Rambo, one guy can kill 3,000 people. I just can't believe they cannot, even with all this technology we have nowadays. I mean, we found Saddam Hussein in a pit hole. We can't find Bin Laden. It's unbelievable to believe, actually.
Well, I understand that he was supposed to have been cornered at one time in Tora, a leader of a faith, to encourage his flock to vote and participate in the political process. What crosses the line with legality is telling them who to vote for.
But they do it indirectly.
They certainly
we know they do it indirectly.
Some churches do it indirectly. That's true, and that's an area that's best regulated by the Internal Revenue Service. But the Internal Revenue Service is also a creature of the Bush administration.
What can you advise the American people, Democrats and Republicans? What can you say to them?
What I would say to all citizens who are of voting age is to make very certain that you participate in the political process. The decisions being made by local, state, and federal government today will affect our children and their children for generations and generations. And it is our responsibility as parents to try to create an environment for them that they will flourish in, and just as we have done as we grew up. Regardless of who you vote for, just make sure that you vote.
Again, I want to thank our lawyer from Wichita. He's been with us at least for 26 years in Wichita, same location, Mr. Kelly Johnston. I want to remind you one more time that if you want to truly be open-minded, there is a workshop. It's called The Legacy of Muhammad. It's going to be at WSU on June 3rd. Again, it's going to be on June 3rd at 10 a.m. I want to give you a phone number. It's 990-7744. 990-7744. There is also a free lunch. It's going to be at 10 a.m. that Saturday, June 3rd at WSU. The main entrance that is close to Hillside, just across the street from that main entrance. This is a way, by the way, to know your neighbor. This is a way to get educated about other cultures and other traditions, and actually those could be your relatives in the future. Instead of listening to people who are actually biased, mainly in the media. With that, I end the show, and we will see you next Thursday. And in June, second week of June, my show is going to be on Monday evenings at 7 p.m. Good night. God bless you.